Well, there's no question that we are all very disappointed in the Atlanta Braves getting knocked out of the division series for the second year in a row, by the Philadelphia Phillies. It is not something we really expected. I think everybody expected this to be a tough series, and I predicted the Braves would win it in 5 games, so I by no means thought it would be easy if they were able to win. But no one could have predicted that this team would have only 8 runs in 4 games after averaging 5.85 runs per game in the regular season. The Braves averaged 2 runs per game in the postseason, so that was something that was unexpected. Of course, no home runs or RBI, only 1 extra base hit from the 2 MVP candidates, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Matt Olson. That's not something we expected. A 186 batting average, only a handful of extra base hits, and only 3 home runs. The Braves were out-homered 11-3 by the Phillies, and obviously that was a big reason Philadelphia was able to win the series in 4 games. So it's a disappointment. There's no question. And we can spend the next 5 months until spring training starts trying to figure out what the heck happened. But the bottom line is the Braves have to go back to work to try to find out what they need again to try to beat the Phillies and get past that division series round and get back to the World Series. It's hard to think about improving a 104-win team, but the Braves do have some needs, and it starts for me at the pitching. To be honest with you, the Braves were not going to get very far in the playoffs this year. The reason was the starting pitching. Spencer Strider was the only pitcher they had that was at 100%. Max Fried, of course, was coming off of the blister situation, which did hold up and which was good, but he was rusty after not pitching in 18 days because of the blister. Now, if the Braves had won Game 4 and created a Game 5, Max would have pitched and perhaps he would have done better in the second time around, but regardless, he wasn't 100% going into the playoffs. And that's it. The Braves had Spencer Strider and Max Fried, and that's about it. Charlie Morton was out with a torn ligament in his right index finger, and from what I've been told, he was not coming back to the playoffs, even if they had advanced to the next round. That's why the Braves had to go with Bryce Elder in Game 3 last week against Philadelphia, and of course that was not easy because Bryce Elder had run out of gas about a month and a half ago. So the Braves were in trouble. They were not going to be able to really have a 7-game series that was going to present an easy option for the rotation. And look, even in those 4 games, their ERA between 2 games for Strider, Fried, and Elder was 6.06. The teams that are left standing in Major League Baseball, well, they're pitching at a high level, an elite level, and that's what has to happen. So the Braves, of course, have to figure out what's going to happen with Max Fried. Is he going to sign for the long term? And if not, do they trade him? And then they have to go find someone else. Charlie Morton turns 40 years old next month, and with all due respect to all of us over the age of 40, you shouldn't be pitching baseball unless you're just one of the Hall of Famers that are going to Cooperstown one day. Charlie needs to go home. The Braves need to go find another starting pitcher that can have a full year and not run out of gas and pitch well in October. Of course, that's easier said than done, but that's got to be priority number 1 on their list. We'll see what happens, but there's no question that after having a 104-win season, it's not easy to go out there and quote-unquote fix your team. But after what we saw in the playoffs last week against the Phillies, that's exactly what the Braves have to do.